All right, we will be chanting 15th chapter, the first 10 verses. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Urdhvamulamatha Shakam Ashvatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedaved Athaschodhvam Prasrutastasya Shakha Guna Pravriddha Vishaya Pravalaha Athasya Mulani Anusantatani Karmanubandhini Manushya Loke Narupamasyeha tathopalabhyate Namto nachade nacha sampratishta Ashvatthaminam suvirudhamulam Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva Tatah padam tatparimargitavyam Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye Yatah pravritti prasuta purani Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sannaihi Gacchantya-mudha padamavyayam tat Na tat bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha Yad gatva na nivartamte tadhama paramam mama Mamayvamsho jivaloke jivabhutas sanatana Manah shashtani indriyani Prakritisthani karshati Shariram yadavapnoti Yachyapyutkramati Grihitvaitani sanyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shrotram chakshusparshanancha Rasanam ghranamivacha Adhisthaya manaschayam Vishayanupasevate Utkramantam sthitam vapi Bunjanam va vitam Vimudhanam pashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. So we are discussing the 15th chapter. In the first and the second shlokas, the Lord has described this whole world, our life, our experiences, as a big tree. We are all like birds. But this tree has come from God. It is rooted in God. Therefore, ultimately, we are also going back to God, sooner or later. It is compared to a tree because a tree can be cut. The very name vriksha in Sanskrit. In English, that doesn't make meaning. It is a tree. But vriksha means that which you can destroy, uproot, cut. That is why it is cut. Any tree can be cut. If you don't cut, it will get destroyed in course of time. So it is our duty consciously with effort to cut this. And that is the goal of life. Now from verse 3 to verse 6, the Lord is telling that how we should be able to get out of this samsara. So that is what we will discuss very briefly. The first thing that he says that we should not have any attachments. So it says the form of this tree as such is not experienced here, nor its scent, nor its beginning, nor its continuity. This tree is so deeply rooted. Where it begins, where it ends, nobody knows. How to understand this? If you are asked, where from have you come? Can you tell from where did you come? Where are you going to go? So for example, there is a pot. Where from the pot has come? From clay. And where will it go after it is broken? To clay. Now, we are all human beings. Where from did you come? From your parents. Where from they came? From their parents. Where from they came? Where do you find an end? And then, how do you see from you something else will come? Then where do you find your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren? It goes on and on and on. So there is no end to this samsara vriksha, the tree of samsara. But for the individual, there can be an end. That's why it is called by various names. Maya is one name for this world. It is called anadi. Anadi means you can't find its beginning. But it has an end as far as individual is concerned. How to attain to that end? How you can cut? How you can get out? Very easy. What is it? Don't get attached. Easy to say, very easy to say. Don't get attached. Yeah. But not to get attached, first you must get attached. That is the secret. That means to say, if you don't love anybody in this world, do we really love anyone in this world? How much do we love? See, in a day, how much time do you love your husbands and wives? If you are asked, say in a day 24 hours is there. Out of 24 hours, 8 hours is gone in deep sleep. Do you love your husbands and wives for 8 hours? No. And 8 hours is gone in dreaming. Do you love your husbands and wives in dreaming time? That is the time when you are free. So 16 hours gone. Out of the other 8 hours, you are busy with reading, watching news, and eating, bathing, doing your work. So how much time is left out to love your husbands and wives really? It is not possible. Only great souls like Sri Ramakrishna or Holy Mother, you know what he used to say? Like the compass of a ship. Even though they may be engaged in various activities, but their mind is constantly pointing towards the object of their love. As a Holy Mother, for months together, she could not meet Sri Ramakrishna because somebody else is taking food and other things. But where was her mind? Constantly on Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was also not able to meet Holy Mother. But where is his mind? They loved each other. That kind of love, really speaking, we do not have. But if we can develop, that's why it's a very noble thing. First, you develop your mind in attaching, love something. Not because it gives you something, but because you want to give something. This is the secret. If you don't love anything, anybody in this world, you cannot love God. Because that capacity to love depends upon the mind. We have to understand this point very clearly. Supposing you are very weak, you can only run half a mile, and then afterwards you get exhausted. So if there is some nice cinema 1 mile away, will you be able to reach it? So whether you want to go to a cinema or whether you want to go to a temple, in both ways you will fail. Why? Because your capacity is only half a mile. If we do not develop our capacity to love, to get attached, and to suffer because of that attachment, there is wonderful truth is there. If we open our eyes, the more we love something in this world, the more we suffer. But we grow in our love not in spite of the suffering, but because of the suffering. Otherwise it's not love. Everybody loves good things. But if we can love in spite of suffering, that is true love. Because of suffering, that is true love. And if we can love anything, any object strongly, then if we can direct that love towards God, and then even when suffering is there, we will be able to love God. Now what is our problem? Our problem is, see, when we love something because it gives us happiness. The moment it gives us suffering, our love becomes non-love. Even if we put up brave face outwardly, we do not wish inside. Is this a fact? Why so many divorces are taking place? Because so long as they have got pleasure from each other, husband and wife, they live together. And they claim we love each other. They don't love, they love only happiness. Loving happiness and loving wife are two totally different things. You should be able to find it out with regard to any object. Now, there is a misnomer that if we love God, then our life becomes a happy life. In what sense will it become a happy life? Did Sri Ramakrishna not suffer? Was he not the greatest devotee of God or Divine Mother? And who suffered more? He suffered more than many. Did not Holy Mother suffer? Did not Swami Vivekananda suffer? Did not the direct disciples suffer? In fact, Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel, if you study, not read, but study, very often he was questioning in the last days, so many visions, so many experiences. Why this kind of suffering? Who was able to answer? Nobody was able to answer. He was himself answering. He was telling, this is the nature of the world. In this world, whether you are a saint or sinner, suffering or happiness, both are common to everybody. Does the winter reduce its cold because a person is, you are a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna? Go outside and say, you look, you stupid winter, I am a devotee of Holy Mother. You reduce your... If you go on shouting like that, you don't feel so much cold. That's not because the cold has decreased, but because you got heated. So, this is the nature of the world. Even if we love God, there will be problems. Prahlada. You remember? You have seen the film? You know the story? Did he suffer more or less? And from whom? From his own father he suffered so much. Did he ever complain and said, "Oh Narayana, I love you so much. Why are you giving so much of trouble to me?" He never complained. He said, "Lord, let me have devotion only to you." That is why it is called ahetuka bhakti, motiveless devotion. Ramakrishna's one of the ideals is Prahlada, Narada, ahetuka bhakti. Now, what is the point I am telling? If we can love any object in this world, we are sure to suffer. If we can get accustomed to that suffering, then when we love God, then also suffering will come. Then we won't question. We say, "Oh Lord, I have learned how to love. In the world, I loved some object and I suffered, but on that account, I didn't reduce my suffering, my love. So, I will love you. Doesn't matter what you do to me, that doesn't really matter. It is my pleasure to love you and I will just love you." That is true devotion. If there is any misnomer in the mind, just because we are devotees, then suffering will get reduced. That is a misunderstanding. In fact, a devotee of God actively desires suffering. Do you understand any examples? Kunti. Why did she pray? Because when we are happy, we don't remember God. When we are unhappy, our prayer comes from the very bottom. In South India, in Karnataka state, once there was a famine. For 2-3 years there was no rain at all. And there is a belief by the local people that there is a type of yajna. If they perform that, then the result of that will be a rain will come. So the Tipu Sultan, he gave money to the local Brahmins, said, you perform this. And they did it. They erected beautiful pandal, shamiana, and all the materials they collected, and they did. Went on going on chanting. It is called Parjanya mantra. Parjanya means the god of rain. Mantra. Nothing is happening. No rain at all. The sun was burning bright. Then people went and complained to Tipu Sultan. It did not work. Then he said, let me see why it didn't work. And he came out and saw very beautiful shamiana. They had nice prasadam every time. 4 times they were eating and chanting the mantra. He said, no wonder it didn't work out. He said, sit on the burning sand banks of the Kaveri without any cover. When your bottom start burning, the prayers start coming from the very bottom of your heart. And when they started chanting, this time really from the bottom, because they were experiencing the pain. And very soon Pajanadeva started pouring. Yeah, it is true. If we don't suffer, our devotion to God will not be coming from the bottom. And then it won't continue. Because if happiness comes, immediately we forget. There's in South Indian words, there is this thing, Sankata Kale Venkata Ramana. Yeah. It is like that. So, it is necessary to develop attachment. That is an exercise. It is not easy to develop. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example. When does a man realize God? When 3 attachments strong are combined together. What were those? The love of a chaste wife towards her husband, the love of a mother towards her only child, and the love of a miser towards worldly objects. When these 3 are combined, what a beautiful illustration, because all our attachments fall only in these 3. A wife loves the husband, a mother loves the children, and a miser loves the object. Is there anything else in this world? When all our worldly love attachments is combined and directed towards God, then only we can realize God. That's why he says, let us see how it is going here. This nature of this samsara vriksha, the tree of this samsara, you cannot find out where it started, where it is ending. We do not need to go into it. It is enough to know with faith, because of the scripture, that it is rooted in God. That means we have come from God. That idea is also made clear subsequently. I will come to that point. So this is so deep rooted. It is not easy to cut this tree. When a plant becomes a tree, even moderately bigger, how hard it is to pull it out. That is why we say when it is in a tender stage, it is much easier to do that. If we are alert, I am developing this attachment. How this attachment starts? It starts with, Satya Sai Baba used to put it in a very humorous way. How the samsara vriksha starts? It starts with a talk. It develops into a walk. And it ends into a lock. First wedlock, then deadlock. Yeah. That is how samsara, you meet somebody and then a bit of talk. Oh, I like you. Then let us go for a walk. And then go to a restaurant. Moonlit night, the waiter is serving nicely, and slowly it develops into already it is developing into a lock. Or suffering Suffering. How many rings? 3 rings. Dating ring, wedding ring, and suffering. 3 steps. So, slowly, this is how first we see somebody, then we like, then we start talking means what? Getting introduced and mixing a little more deeply, and it ends in attachment. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti vibhramshat buddhi nashat nashyati. Slowly, first darshan. Yeah, it's wonderful. It is how I was reading the life of a Buddhist teacher. So wonderful an incident happened. How strong is our samskara and our karma. Samskara and karma. There was this Buddhistic monk, he had a lot of disciples, and they used to spend most of their time in meditation. One day they went out to bathe. Suddenly a group of women were passing by, and one of these monks had just one glance at one young woman. He could not meditate afterwards. Then his face became flushed. He was very aware. Then his fellow brother monk, he asked him, "What is the matter? You look very disturbed." Then he told him frankly, yesterday we were bathing and we saw that young woman. Did you not see? He said, the other monk said, "Yes, I have seen." So what? So what? Among them there was one young woman, and I just happened to glance at her, and ever since my mind is like Samudra Manthana, churning of the ocean. And then he said, "You see, try to calm yourself." That monk tried. It didn't work. The more he was trying to calm, the more it was like, if you are forbidden to think of a monkey, what do you think you will be doing? Thinking more. So he started thinking more. Then that other monk took compassion upon this monk and said, "You better move away from this place. If you go away to some other place, then you might be able to regain your meditative practice." So that Guru's permission was necessary. So this man approached the Guru, and then he told him that I am getting disturbed. Should I go? The Guru was able to see the future. He said, "Okay, go." Then he passed a remark that when karmic attachments manifest, nobody can help. He made remark. Nobody understood what that remark meant at that time. So this monk, he thought he would regain back his meditational practice, and he moved away to another village which was quite far away, because this woman was living there. It so happened that shortly afterwards, for some reason, the family of that woman had to move to that village. And that monk again saw. Second time, he could not control himself. They got married. Then this Guru's words were understood by other people, where karmic bandhanas are ready to manifest, nobody can help. That's why, Holy Mother's life, there is a beautiful incident. This is how we have to do manana. Manana means when you read some verse like this, go on meditating upon it, thinking again and again and again. And if you studied Gospel, Holy Mother's life, Thakur's life, direct discipleship, these incidents just come flashing. There were 2 young men who came to Holy Mother, and one of them said, "I would like to be a monk." The other said, "I would like to get married." Holy Mother advised the man who said, "I would like to become a monk." He said, "My son, God has created everything in pairs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 2 hands, 2 feet. So man and woman. So don't worry, go and get married." And to the young man who said, "I would like to get married," he said, "My son, these thoughts come and go. You don't worry. After a few days, you will regret. So don't get married. To one who wanted to a monk, she said, don't. To the one who wanted to get married, she said, don't. After a few years, they realized that that's what they really were, their samskaras meant them for. Temporarily, this man felt dispassion, but afterwards he realized he was not meant to be a monk. The other man, so he thought, I'm having some youthful desires, but he thought, this I have to get married. But Holy Mother could see that in his case, this won't last long, because the samskara of a monk are too strong in that person. Temporarily, yes, like weeds, these things have come up. But they were fortunate to have Holy Mother. Suppose something like that happens now, who is going to advise you? Yeah. So if somebody comes like that, so what would be my advice? I always follow Bengali saying, there's a Bengali saying, a little bit not elegant, but highly useful. If you any time feel that should I eat, should I not eat, the guidance, clear guidance is don't. If any time you feel, shall I go to the restroom, shall I go to the restroom, definitely go. So if somebody comes to me with this dilemma, so shall I become a monk or not? You say, definitely you become a monk. Shall I get married or not? Wait a little. Don't be in a haste. You can, any time you can get married, but once you get married, and to get out of that is not going to be that easy. So coming back, says that one should develop non-attachment and one should seek that goal, reaching which they do not return, saying, I seek refuge in that primordial Purusha, from whom this eternal process has sprung. Nirmana moha jitasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvaihi vimukta sukhadukta sangnai gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. Verse number 5. Free from pride and delusion, overcoming the evil of attachment, ever devoted to spiritual pursuits, rid of desires and the dual throng named pleasure and pain, the wise go to that immutable goal. There is a state that is called the state of God, going which we do not return. What is the meaning of samsara? We return again and again and again. What is the meaning of God? Reaching which we never return. Why do we not return? Because whatever we are seeking here and which we get only temporarily, we get in God permanently. So there is no question of, if you reach God, there is nothing further that your journey ends. How do you know your journey ends? Because a journey always means I want something. But after reaching God, there is no wanting anything. They become purna kamas. That's why they are also called akama. Their akama means no desire. Men of no desire. Why there is no desire? Because there is no more any desirable object. You see, a desire means there is something which we have to attain. When you have fulfilled all your desires, every object you wanted to have, you have. After that, tata kim. What do? Just enjoy it. God is that object, reaching which your journey stops, because there is nothing further to desire. In fact, you will not be there to desire. The secret is, if you want to desire, then triputi we call it. Three things must be there. You must be there, an object must be there, and then a way of fulfilling the desire object must be there. Three. When you are in deep sleep, do you desire anything? Reaching God means it is reaching that unity where you are not separate from God. If at all you have to express it in language, you can say, I desire only God. Sri Ramakrishna's words, as I said many times, they are Veda Vakyas, Upanishads. Kathamrita is nothing but a Upanishad. So there is a saying, Bengali saying, Ami chini khete chai, chini hote chai. I want to enjoy sugar, but I do not wish to become sugar. But what does Sri Ramakrishna mean by that? You see, once you enjoy God, it is not sugar, it is not honey, it is not rasgulla. Once you enjoy God, you never ever want to be separate from God. That's why Sri Ramakrishna tests Narendranath. My child, suppose there is a syrup in a big bowl and you are a fly. Where will you sit and eat? He says, I will sit at the end, stretch my tongue and sip a little bit. Why? He said, if I fall in that, I will die. Sri Ramakrishna said, my child, this is not an ordinary lake. It is a lake of immortality. They are dying there. Mortal becomes immortal. That is what Mundaka Upanishad is telling. When we have that highest experience of God, not vision of God, but experience, tasmin drishte paravare. What happens? Vidyate hridaya granthihi. All the knots of the heart are sundered completely. Kshiyante jasya karmani. Chidyante sarva samshaya. All doubts will vanish. You know what is doubt? What is the doubt? The doubt is this all right? Or is there something more? That is the doubt. Is this the end or is there something else? There is also a story by Sri Ramakrishna illustrating this. Wonderful truths. Kshiyante chasya karmani. All karmas come to an end. Means there is no need for you to work because you have reached that highest ananda. You have become ananda. By reaching that place or that state, you do not enjoy. You become ananda, swarupa, your very nature. Sri Ramakrishna's words, as I said, they are so deep. Once he is telling, my kundalini is rising. It has gone to the sixth state. And I say, I see God as I see like a lamp in a light in a separated by a thin glass case. But then he said, I will tell you the next stage. And then he went into samadhi. Then he came back. And I will tell you now. He went into samadhi. How can he tell? Because he has become one. Who is going to tell and who is going to listen in that state? Only in the state of duality we can do something like that. Every parable, every teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, there is a corresponding in the Upanishads. Only he has spoken Upanishads in the colloquial Bengali language, simple language. That's why Rajagopalacharya, such an intelligent man, he had taken Sri Ramakrishna's teachings and made a book out of it. What was the title? Sri Ramakrishna Upanishads. So, he is telling that once you break this tree of samsara, and then you will reach. Without cutting down this samsara, you are not able to reach that state. But can you cut this tree? Is it so easy to cut? So you will have to take the help of somebody. Who is that somebody? God. That is why Guru or God. That is why say Tameva Sharanam Gacha. Sarva Bhavena Bharata. Every way take refuge in Him. Take refuge in means you become one with Him and say, oh Lord, this much is my capacity. Now you take over. And God will take over. That's what he said, that You take refuge in him. Where is that one? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatah pravritti prasruta purani. You take refuge in him from whom this tree has come. This whole tree has come. Ramakrishna tells if you want to know how many, what is the treasure, how many possessions Shambhu Malik has, then what do you need to do? Don't go on asking the watchman, because the watchman only knows a little bit. But somehow make friends with the owner, and he will take you himself on a round. This is my garden, mango garden, and this is my banana garden, and this is my vegetable garden. Vegetable garden. A Bengali teacher teaching alphabet, English alphabet. A for ant, B for vegetable. B for vegetable. He will tell you everything. But does a owner tell everything to a stranger? No, he will only tell to his own children. We must become his. That is called Sharanam. Sharana means you will have to totally remove yourself from him. And then, yes, this is my child. There is no way. Bhagavad Gita's teaching is, the ultimate teaching of Bhagavad Gita is called Sharanagati. Surrender. How do we know? Not only in between he tells. The first teaching started with the surrender of Arjuna. In between he is telling. What is he telling? This Maya, Daivi Hyesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Mameva ye Prapadyante Maya Eta Tarantete. That unless you take refuge in me, I am not going to tell my Maya, hey, this child is my child, don't trouble him. But the other fellow, he is a very troublesome fellow, so you trouble him. But my children, don't trouble him. In the end, what was the teaching? Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja tasmat tvameva sharanam mama dina bandho sharanagata dinartha paritrana parayane sarvasya arti hare devi narayani namostute. This was what Sri Ramakrishna worshipped on Palaharini Kali Puja, 1st June. Palaharini Kali Puja was there. He worshipped Holy Mother, Palaharini Kali Puja, and then he uttered this from the Chandi. This is the Sarva Mangala Mangalye, Gunashraya Gunamaya Narayana Namostute, Sharanagata Dinartha, etc. Okay. So these qualities, these are called Moksha Samrajya Sadhanas. If we want to attain to the kingdom, to the empire of liberation, then we have to acquire these qualifications. It is like, if you want to go to America, can you simply get a visa? To get a visa, what do you need to do? You have to fill up a ESTA form. Do you know that ESTA form? Electronic something is there. Form. You have to go to the American embassy and get, if you are not British citizen. If you are British citizen also, you have to fill up all the details. Not only that, even after filling all the details, when you enter there, get down from the plane, they will look into your eyes, they will look into your thumbs, they will look into your all the 24 places, and if they find your name is anywhere resembling a terrorist name, then they will make you sit outside for a long time. And they will find out your relatives and all those things. They will ferret out all your emails you had been corresponding to find out whether you are a terrorist or not. If these are the qualifications to be fulfilled to enter into America, then to enter into the kingdom of liberation, you think that you should not fulfill certain things. These are the qualifications. The Lord says, do you have these qualifications? Yes, you can enter. Otherwise, no. Then the Lord is describing most marvelous things. What is the nature of that place? Natat bhasayate suryo nashashanko napavaka yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramama. That is my place where I reside. Where do I reside? Chidakasha. What is the nature of that Chidakasha? Natat bhasayate suryo. There the sun doesn't shine. There the moon, the stars, the fire, etc., they do not shine. Nahi surya, nahi jyoti, nahi shashanka kshetra. Have you heard somewhere? Swamiji's beautiful song. Now the question comes, if the sun is not there, moon is not there, no lighting is there, how do I see? Why do you want to see? There is nothing to see. You see, when you go to bed at night, do you put off the light or not? Unless you suffer from that phobia called darkness phobia. You know, you put off the light. Why do you put off the light? Have you ever thought why you put off the light? What is the reason? You don't need, because when you don't need, then sleep will come. When you are alone and you don't need anything, you don't want anything, then you don't need any light. To know yourself, do you need a light? Am I here? Or am I somewhere else? If you want to find out whether your husband is with you or not, you need a light. But if you want to find out yourself, you don't need any light at all. There, in that state, who is there? Only you are there. Since you are there and you don't want anything else, you don't need a light. Not only that, you are the light which lights up everything else. It is, many times this idea comes, monere opare kotha kono desh shashi tapaner nahi paravesh. Shitha ujale, the whole place is lighted up. Charu vibhai, beautiful lighting. How? Tamahashi rashi. Your beautiful smile lighted up. It is a very poetic way of putting Atman, self, is Swayam Jyoti. Now to illustrate that point, I will give you one or two examples. Do you see lights here? Now close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Do you see the light?
No.
What is the illustration for? That if you decide not to see, what can this light do to you? That means unless you decide to see the light cannot show you anything. You are the person who is in charge of this light. So even the sun, if you close your eyes, you can't see the sun, you don't need to see the sun. You don't need to see anything. That means who is the lighter of the light? Who gives light to the light? Means recognition, cognition. Do you get what I am talking about? If I don't cognize you, then you don't exist for me. Everything else depends upon one, that is self-cognition. Every cognition depends upon self-cognition. Then who cognizes the self? Who cognizes the cognizer? There is no need. He himself is cognizing. I know myself. I don't need anybody to tell me. But if I want to know you, then I have to get the information. And even then, it may be false information. Who knows? So, that is that state where God gives light. That is why it is said that bhayad asmat agnihi tapati. Because of the fear of him, the fire burns, the sun shines, the wind blows, the clouds rain, and the earth keeps on moving. Because of fear of what? Fear of God. That name, there is a name for that God, is called Antaryami. Antaryami means inner controller. So that state you don't need. You don't need any light because you yourself become the light. Now why do we need the sun? Because we have, as it were, put two layers of obstructions in front of us. What are those obstructions? Mind and body. That is why the body needs the sunlight. The mind needs the sunlight, moonlight, fire, any light. But the self, ever shining, doesn't need anything. That is the idea expressed here. So it is also said, Yad gatvana nivartante. Once they reach that state of mind, they are not going to return. Why don't they return? Unfulfilled desires, then we return. Completely fulfilled desires, we do not need to return at all. That is a state. We will be so happy all the time. There is no need for, we never think of returning. It is a madhouse. Once there was a fellow working in a factory and he had gone mad. So he was admitted into a lunatic asylum and slowly he was recovering. And after some days his colleagues went and said, John, are you not, you are all right? He said, oh, I am first class. Are you going to return to factory? He said, what? Leaving this beautiful building, such a delicious food, and moreover these most beautiful nurses who are looking after me day and night. You must be thinking I am mad to return to that dirty factory. Once we reach there, we will never return, because our hearts will be attracted completely. Sri Ramakrishna's words, he says this, we are bound by so many shackles, but when a huge magnetic ship is passing, all the shackles will become loosened. We become completely one. How do we become one? He said, he gave three illustrations. There are three dolls. One is a wooden metal doll, one is a cloth doll, and another is a salt doll. So when the metal doll went down into the ocean, it remained a metal. When the cloth doll went, it absorbed some water but still retained some separation. But when the salt doll went, it became completely merged. We become like the salt doll when we attain to the state of God. Then also it taught our roots, the root of the samsara. Where is it? Urdhva moolam, in God. That idea is telling here, explaining what is the nature of jiva. First he says, jiva means individual soul, is none other than God himself. So who is that individual soul? Is none other than God himself. So that is the idea he is giving. Verily, a part of myself, having become this eternal embodied soul, draws to this world of beings the senses with the mind as the sixth, which rest in nature. So the jiva enters into this body-mind complex. And this body-mind complex has got certain nature. What is the first of all mind? Mind means the ability to cognize things, also called subtle body, also called intelligent body. Its nature is to recognize. And what is the nature of this body? It has got five senses. All the five sense organs, they go out and bring in the knowledge. So what does the jiva do? With the help of these five sense organs and one mind, he goes on moving in this world, samsara. So how does the jiva see? Now you are sitting here. You are seeing me, I am seeing you. Who is seeing? When I say I am seeing you, who is seeing? Is the eye seeing? Is the mind seeing? Who is seeing? Really speaking, who is seeing? It is only the jivatma who is seeing really. It is the jivatma who is smelling, who is hearing, who is tasting, who is touching. It is the jivatma, not the body, not also the mind. That idea is giving here. When the master acquires a body, he takes the six referred to above, from the one he lives, even as the breeze carries odors. No, this not this one. Verily a part of myself, having become this eternal embodied soul, draws to this world of beings the senses, 5 senses, with the mind as the 6th, which rest in nature. And he says, this body, the soul moves from body to body. You have dress, you have a morning dress, office dress, evening dress. So this is a dress. In Bhagavad Gita, this physical body is compared to a dress. But only thing is, this dress is one dress. Only one. That is why it is called a dress. Dress means what? Address. What is your address? Your CV. No, I'm not talking about the house. Wherever we go, we carry our own address. Isn't it? Your CV. Supposing you have decided to leave one job and apply for another job. So would you change your name, your qualifications?
No.
Even if you change your address of your home, your CV will be exactly the same. And what is that CV? You know what is the CV, Shama? Yes, when I went to one devotee's house in Houston, the young man was having photographs of himself. So there was a photograph which was taken recently. There was a photograph which was taken 15 years back. So he was showing me, this is Subhash, 15 years back, foolish. And latest photo, this is Subhash, 15 years older, still foolish. CV. Yes, until we realize God, we are still foolish only. Not only that, we are getting deeper into this foolishness. Previously we didn't have the ego that I am a devotee. Now we have acquired another tail. I am a devotee. Don't you know? I am a devotee. I have special right. Yeah. What happens? This jiva moves from body to body. Means what? In this life he lives for some time with this dress, and then next he will take, when this becomes own, he will take another dress. That is Bhagavad Gita. It's very clearly it is said in the 2nd chapter. What happens? When this body becomes worn out, vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya. So he goes on taking, this is dress, and all the time this dress is getting older and torn also. But the person who is the dresser, he is not changing. He only changes the dress. He himself doesn't change. From death to birth, from birth to death. Each life is for a short period of time. Hoito jabo para anke putra hoye. Maybe I will go in the next scene. Anka means scene. Anka means lap. Maybe I will go in the next scene in this drama as a child in the lap of another woman. In this scene, I was in the lap of this woman, whom I call my mother. Yeah, that is why she is also sometimes called laptop. Laptop, Yeah. So, next birth, again I will go. Next birth, again I will go. Every time in this, that's what I call the Broadway show. This wonderful Broadway show, going on and how many scenes?
Love that Broadway.
It's going on because it is God's script. It goes on and on for a long time. But everything comes to an end. People get tired of this Broadway show.
And who is selling the ticket, Mala?
He is selling himself.
Mala,
He is selling
the ticket.
Oh my God.
You selling the ticket.
You never gave me anything.
Making us all watch.
You never bought any ticket from me. And you are claiming Maharaj is selling the ticket. So, This is the idea given. When the master acquires a body, he takes these six, means the body and the mind, and from the one he lives, even as the breeze carries odors from their seeds and attains. What does he take? The body he leaves behind, but the sense organs he takes. This is called subtle body. What does the subtle body consist of? We say gross body, subtle body, causal body. He leaves the gross body, but he takes both the subtle body and also causal body and moves from this body. He takes next. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said to Holy Mother, where did I go? From this room to the other room. There is nothing called death, really speaking. So he is explaining what are these five. Shrotran, Chakshus, Sparshanam, Rasanam, Granam, Evacha, Adhisthaya, Manaschayam, Vishayam, Upasevate. So presiding over the ears, the eyes, the organs of touch, taste and smell, and also the mind. He enjoys the sense objects. He means who? The jiva, the individual soul, the bound soul, he enjoys. Actually we are saying, I am enjoying. I means, what do you mean by I? It is not the body, it is not the sense organs, it is not the mind, it is the jivatma. That alone enjoys, and he is the Lord. He manipulates. We are all manipulating our sense organs. How? When you want to see me, then you will see me. When you don't want to see me, you will not see me, even though you are sitting right in front of me, isn't it? When after hearing, when you say, what are you doing to me? I don't want to see you, I don't want to hear you. Enough is enough. Is it not? You are not saying it, but I can clearly see that you don't want to see me. Then I have to tell a joke. Then now you are in this, I want to see you, I want to hear you. But something serious, you don't want to see. Every time we decide. So with these six instruments, five sense organs and the mind, the jiva is moving furiously like a mad person from one place to another place, from one state to another state, until liberation comes. This is the state. Look here what he says, Utkramantam sthitam vapi gunjanam va gunanvitam imudha nanupashyanti pashyanti gnana chakshusha. And he says, the deluded beings do not see the jiva departing from this body or residing in it or experiencing objects being associated with the senses. But they who have the eye of knowledge, they alone see him. Take the example of Ramakrishna. When Akshay died, what were people doing?
Crying.
They were crying. Why were they crying? Because they thought he was dead. Was he dead? What did he do? He took all these Sukshma Sarira and he departed. What was dead or what was left behind? It is the body. Sri Ramakrishna said, I clearly saw the sword being taken out of a scabbard. He says, I clearly see. So how can I weep? Because I see this person moving very nicely. Yeah, he is laughing and going also.
But he also said it was like a Kamchanimirandor Mutun. I had
That is not because he forgot that. It is mother wanted to teach him, you may laugh, but what can the poor fellows do? They do not know that fact. Yes, you know that, but they do not know. Our weeping, when somebody dies, so we weep. We say, why? Because we think that we are not never again going to see this person. When you see, anyway, the point is, we, in our ignorance, we see the body, identify the body as the jiva, and this body is dead. Then we say jiva is dead. Jiva is not dead. Maybe he is very happy to run away. That's why I say, when Rameshwar died, in Kamarpur, Rameshwar, Ramakrishna's next brother, elder brother. So when he died, he had a friend, a very close friend. in that village. So it was midnight and this man was sleeping. So Rameshwar entered, knocked at the door and he opened. He couldn't see anybody. Then he was surprised. Then Rameshwar spoke to him. I am Rameshwar, I just left the body and if you go and find you will see, you will confirm. The man didn't believe. He ran. He's only just a few houses away. And then he came just few minutes back, Rameshwar, he died. But he could clearly hear the voice. Yeah, so many things are there like that. An American woman, her husband died. So one day she wanted to talk with him. So she went to special telephonic medium, we call it CMs. So CMs, so his name was, say, John. Don't get offended, it is John. John. So she asked, John, are you happy there? He said, very, very happy. So, are you more happy than when you were with me? He said, what are you talking about, Pagli? I am billion times happier than when I was with you. Then she asked, John, please describe heaven. He said, who is talking about heaven? You see, for Sri Krishna or great saints, the death is not a death at all. A real death is the death of ignorance. This bodily death is not at all the end of it. He will be born again, he or she, again and going on, suffering in this transmigratory world. No. For a jiva, this is what he is telling. These two facts from this chapter, what is it? We all came from God. And God only residing inside each one of us. And He is taking hold of this body and mind and means five sense organ, and He is moving from place to place, from body to body, from body to body, from a lower body to a higher body, depending on the karma. Sometimes from the higher body to the lower body. Who is able to see? Ordinary people are incapable of seeing that. But a wise man sees. That is why he says, only they who have the eye of knowledge, they see Him. Eye of knowledge, Jnana Chakshusha. And how difficult it is to see. That's why the next two verses, Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmanyavastitam yatanto pyakritatmano nainam pashyantya chedasaha. The yogis who strive see Him seated in themselves, but those who are not self-controlled, being thoughtless, do not see Him in spite of striving. Many of us are striving, but we are not progressing. And that is why we are still subject to this suffering. That's why if you understand, this Bhagavad Gita started with the second chapter. What was the very first verse Sri Krishna utters? He opens his mouth and utters, Ashocyan anvashocestam prajnavadam se bhashase gatasun agatasum cha nanu shochinti pandita. What does it mean? A real man of knowledge doesn't grieve either for the living or for the dead. What does it mean? Neither for the living nor for the dead. Because what we call living and dead, we are only referring to the physical body. A real Pandit, he knows that each one of us is the real self. Jiva loke, Jiva. Jiva is nothing but a scar of God. But we don't see it. That's why when a person is alive, we think, oh, I am happy, this person is alive. Not always. It goes either way. Yeah, sometimes we weep because a person is living. Sometimes we weep because person is dead. It all depends. Yeah, it all depends, So, a wise man neither grieves for the living nor grieves for the dead, because life and death has no meaning for a wise man. See, ordinary person, if I change my dress, do you weep? If I put on this dress, oh, you are very happy. If I put on some other dress, you are very unhappy. Is it right? Because you know clearly, I am not the dress. But if you mistake me for the dress, strange things happen, you know. So Swami Virajananda, in those days, women used to put big veils. You know, many Hindu women, not burqa, but they used ghumta. Yeah, especially in front of their husbands. So what happened? Was it Vijnanandaji? No, it was Virajanandaji, I think. So once, even in front of him, his mother used to put the veil. So once she went to her father's house, and there she removed. And this for Virajanandaji, it was the strangest sight. He has rarely seen his mother without veil. She appeared very peculiar. So every time he was trying to pull the veil to make her appear as normal. What will you do? Habit. If we see something dress changed, then we feel, oh, this person, we can't recognize. Yeah, it is very difficult. If somebody is reborn, can we recognize? No. Rameshanandaji Maharaj was writing that beautiful book, Go Forward. A mother, her only son died, and she was weeping her heart out. And then, after a few days, she is slowly controlling herself, and one day she made nice payasam and rasagullas, sweets. But there was a child who was born, and just 1 year back or so, he slowly crawls. And then she was trying to hide, because she doesn't want to share those sweets with that child. Premeshanji was writing, this foolish woman doesn't know her dead son was born in that neighbor's family, and he was trying to come. Whom was she trying to push away? Her own son. How can she recognize? Because he changed his dress completely. We are also like that, dead people may be coming the next neighbor's house or whatever it is. Can we recognize anybody? Not possible. That's why we always identify the person with the dress. That is our ignorance. But a person of knowledge, he never identifies with the physical body. That's why Sri Ramakrishna, in his eyes, there is no birth, there is no death at all. Birth and death are like dresses. How many times we have come? How many times we have gone? This is the simple truth. Then he is telling, after this, what beautiful expressions he is telling here. First, these three facts. God has created Jagat. Jagat means world. Then God has created Jiva. Jiva means individual soul. What does it mean, creation? A potter makes a pot. A potter makes a pot. Potter is different from the pot. Is it like that? God has created this world. What is the example? God has become this world. The example is the threads of a cloth has become the cloth. What is the difference between threads and cloth? Disorganized cloth is called thread, and organized threads are called cloth. Is it not? In a particular way you arrange, and disorganized table is called wood. Organized wood is called a table. There is no difference at all. So God has become this world. God remained as God. God has become the Jiva. So these are the three things we see: individual soul, world, and God. So God is there. The whole world has come from God. In the very first verse itself it said. And then he said, I have become the individual soul. Now he is describing how he has become this world. You see, just look at it here. Yada aditya gatam tejo jagad bhasayate kilam yachandramasi yachagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. The light in the sun which illumines the world, and the light which is in the moon and the fire, know that light to be me. That means what? Who is the sun? God. Who is the moon? God. Who are the stars? God. Who is the fire? God. This is an indication he is telling. Then look at it, what he is telling next verse. Gama vishyacha bhutani dharayamyaha mojasa ushnami cha ushadev sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Entering the earth with my energy, I support the beings and I nourish all the herbs, becoming the watery moon. That means to say, he has become the earth. What does the earth do? What is the special function of the earth?
Give us food.
We all came from earth only. How did it we come? Our parents ate the plants, and the plants came from the earth. Our parents, after eating the earth and these plants, etc., and then they produced that what you call the seed. The seed has come from where? In the Upanishad, in the Chandogya Upanishad. It's a most marvelous, indescribably beautiful Vidya called Panchagni Vidya. The Vidya of 5 fires. The whole life is described in the 5 fires. But I will just briefly tell you how it happens. Now what happens? That a man, how is a man born? So it is said that first of all there is the earth. So what happens? This earth, the plants grow. How do the plants grow? Because of rain. How does the rain happen? Because of the clouds. How are the clouds formed? Because of the sun. So the whole thing is a cycle. So what happens? This jiva, this departed jiva, he becomes mixed with these elements, and this element becomes finally the moonlight. The moonlight becomes the rain. The rain falls on the earth, and this rain gets transformed into plants. This plant is eaten by the man, and he produces the seed. This seed is put into the fire called the woman. Again, the whole cycle. So the whole thing is recycling. Don't you see? Everything is being recycled in this world. It's a most marvelous thing if you meditate upon that Panchagni Vidya. Now here the point is telling, I have become the sun, I am the moon, I am the earth, I am the plants. So what are we doing? What are we eating really? The plant. Having eaten, you have to digest it, isn't it? See the beauty of it. So who created you? God. Who created food? God. Who is digesting the food? What are you doing?
Nothing.
There is nothing. Everything, God is doing everything. And we in between come and say, so I am doing it. Stupid thing. That is what you see here. So I nourish everything. I become herbs and I nourish the whole universe. But having taken food, we have to digest it. Look here what he says. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidam. So Chaturvidam means 4 types of food. That which is solid, that which is semi-liquid, that which is liquid, etc. Bhakshyam, Bhojyam, Lehyam, etc. 4 types of food. Chosham. All this food we put it inside and say, we happily put. The tongue says, don't worry about anything, just put. I am very happy. But who is to digest it? That's why God says, what can I do? I created you, it is my responsibility. If I have done something nasty, I have to clean up the whole mess. That's why he says, residing in the bodies of beings as the digestive fire. Vaishvanara, and united with prana and apana, I digest the four kinds of food. He has created us. He has created himself as the sun and moon. He has created as the earth. He has created the plants. He is supplying us food, and he is also digesting the food. Fine. Who is enjoying? It's only God. It has nothing to do with us. In between, our ahankara comes and says, I am doing it. If you ask, who are you? Then he says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanancha vedaischa sarvai ahameva vedyo vedanta krid veda videva chaham. So what do we do after eating food? We start living. What do we do after living? What do? We try to acquire knowledge. So how does that happen? I am seated in the hearts of beings. From me are memory and knowledge as also their loss. I alone am to be known through all the Vedas. I am the originator of the Vedantic tradition, and I am also the knower of the Vedas. Who is the teacher? No. Who has written the book? God. Who is the teacher who is teaching that book? God. And who is the student who is learning the book? See, this most beautiful chapter is telling, excepting God, nothing is there. That is the essence of it. God has become like in your dream, you create yourself in your dream. You see, in your dream, you are taking a class. What class? You have written a book. You have written a book in dream, not really. You have written a book in the dream, and some people got interested. Then you are teaching. Who is the teacher? You. Who is the writer? Who was the writer? You. Who was sitting there and reading in your dream? See, it is like that. The whole universe is nothing but a dream or a thought, a fantasy, wonderful fantasy of God. So what he is telling here, I sit inside the heart as Jiva. And then, look here, what he says. Mattaha smritihi gnanam apohana. Three things. Smriti means memory. Gnana means knowledge. And apohana means forgetfulness. Now you say, knowledge we can understand, memory we can understand, but why this forgetfulness from God? That is the biggest blessing we have. If you have to remember everything that happened in your life will be most miserable. You go mad. Not only that, it is a blessing. Suppose something unpleasant happened. It is a blessing suppose somebody died and you love that person and you can never forget that person. Just imagine what a misery it is. But after some time you forget. How do you forget? Kala rupena. Time heals everything. In the form of time, you forget everything. The only thing we can't ever forget, now impossible to forget, is one's own self. I am. Even if I say I am, forgetting that I am should be there to be able to issue the statement, I forget. If you forget yourself, then you will not be there. There is no problem. So God, what is the idea of these shlokas we say? God has become the world. God has filled himself with the world. God is manifesting as the world. God has become the Jivatma in every person. And God also has provided body and mind. God also is eating in this, supplying food from outside. He is also digesting. And he is only acquiring knowledge. He is only creating the scriptures. And he also is forgetting what he has written because it is so boring. He himself wants to forget some portions of what he has written. In fact, the whole thing is boring. That is why he incarnated as the greatest bore in the world. Varaha Avatara. What a wonderful chapter we are dealing with. That is why it is called Purushottama Yoga. So the whole universe can now be subdivided into three. God, individual soul and the world. Individual soul, world and God. In the next few shlokas, he is telling about this. That which seems to be without consciousness is called Jagat. That which is with consciousness, limited consciousness, is called Jiva or Kshara. Then that is which God, who is beyond both Kshara and Akshara. No, this Kshara he gave the name for the Prakriti, entire nature. Akshara he gave the name for the individual soul, and God is beyond both Kshara and Akshara, is dealing with those three. Now you see how easy this philosophy has become. If you are asking, this whole universe, infinite universe, so many things are there, don't worry. I, the individual soul, the world which I experience, and God, who envelops both me and also the world. Jiva, Jagat, and then Brahman, Ishvara. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. And finally, he rounds up these things. These three are not separate. All the one in three is one. When we are having Maya, then we see Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara as separate. When we have right knowledge, then Ishvara is the Jiva, Ishvara is the Jagat, Jiva is Ishvara, Jiva is Jagat, Jagat is Jiva, Jagat is Ishvara. This we will complete in our next class. And when is that?
16.
No, this is July 17th. 17th of July. So please note down. And August 13, September 18. 18th, all right, Ila? September 8th.
Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday. Ramer program actually. Sunday. August, May, June, 13th of August. October pore hobe. Don't worry. Let us first survive until October. Yeah. Then we will see. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum